Hello and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Bench with Judge Ron Arnone. I'm Judge Arnone and I want to welcome you today to an interesting show. Today we're going to share with you a video on the Pennsylvania judicial system, and it's referred to as Pennsylvania's Unified Judicial Branch. It's going to be an interesting video with lots of facts, history, and information about the court system, how it works, who runs it, and the whole administration of the courts and its great history. I'm really proud to bring you this video, and I will tell you, so you're clear, some of the individuals in this video are not on the courts anymore. The video was shot a number of years ago, and it is still very true to the facts of what the courts do and who is involved with the courts and the history for sure, but some of the individuals are no longer in office. The interesting part about this video is you're going to learn probably things that you weren't aware of about the court system. Again, not only how it operates, but the very rich history of Pennsylvania's courts, particularly the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and some of the different things that the different levels of courts do in their capacity as judges. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I do as a magisterial district judge and my capacity, and how the courts really all work together in some harmony to fulfill our obligation to the citizens of the Commonwealth and justice for all. So sit back, enjoy the video, and I will see you on the other side.
Independence Hall, Philadelphia, one of the most recognizable buildings in the United States. To all Americans, it stands as an icon of liberty and freedom. More than 2 centuries ago, men with names like Franklin, Adams, and Jefferson gathered here to form a new government. Their first step was to declare their independence from British rule. In this assembly room, 56 brave men scratched their names across a piece of parchment, thus cutting their ties to England and creating a new union. The signing of the Declaration of Independence set into motion a series of events that would lead to the formation of the United States of America. And it all started right here in Pennsylvania. This is where Benjamin Franklin sat. Thomas Jefferson was there. And John Adams was at the Massachusetts table over there. The system of government our founders created is described in the U.S. Constitution, which was drafted here in 1787. The U.S. Constitution sets the framework of our government and protects each citizen with certain rights and privileges. Each state also has its own constitution. In fact, the original 13 colonies each had constitutions in place long before the U.S. Constitution was written. Pennsylvania's has been in use for over 300 years. Pennsylvania's Constitution today sets up our state government in 3 separate branches. The executive branch, which is headed by the governor. The legislative branch, which is known as the General Assembly and is made up of 2 groups of elected representatives, the Senate and the House. And the judicial branch, which is guided by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. Our focus here is on the judicial branch, that is, our court system. Specifically, we'll look at the courts in Pennsylvania and explain how they work to protect your rights. Rights like equal protection under the law, which means everyone has the same protected rights. Due process, which means, among other things, that you have the right to a fair and public trial. Habeas corpus, which means you can't be kept in jail without being charged with a crime. And the right against self-incrimination, which means in a court of law, you don't have to say anything that might be used against you. Basically, what all this means is you have a guarantee of open and equal access to the courts. You have an opportunity to be heard and to have your case decided either by a jury of your peers or by a judge sworn to render decisions without fear or favor. That's what we're going to talk about today. If there is one single symbol of Pennsylvania's state government, it is the Capitol in Harrisburg and its rotunda where I'm standing. This is the formal seat of all three branches of government, including the judicial branch. To better understand Pennsylvania's court system, let's take a look at the judicial pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid are the courts that hear civil cases involving small amounts of money and some criminal matters. Typically, these include magisterial district courts, the municipal courts in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia Traffic Court. The next level on the pyramid is the trial level, which in Pennsylvania is called the Court of Common Pleas. These are the courts where many cases begin, where you may be called to serve as a juror, and which you often see portrayed on television. In Pennsylvania, this is where the DAs from Law and Order might prosecute you. Your divorce would be heard, or you might adopt a baby. Not satisfied with the ruling of a trial court, depending on the type of case, you likely can appeal to the next higher court level, to the Superior Court, or perhaps to the Commonwealth Court when issues of government law are concerned. At the top of the pyramid is the Supreme Court, the highest court in Pennsylvania. The justices here, and they're called justices at this level, not judges, the justices are responsible for supervising and coordinating the administrative work of the entire court system, and they sit as our court of last resort, the place for final appeal of decisions by lower courts. Of course, every day our courts must hear and decide cases involving disputes and controversy about those who have been injured or those who have become victims. A person sues another person. Someone is charged with a crime, or legal problems arise involving families or children. Win or lose, the point remains the same. American courts strive to be accessible, and American judges and juries work hard to be fair. Now let's drill deeper and find out exactly how Pennsylvania's courts work.
The beauty of Pennsylvania's judicial system, as is true all across America, is that our courts are designed to be free of external influences. Judges strive to maintain this judicial independence, not as a means of wielding power, but as a way to guarantee that the rights of all are protected. Our decisions are guided by legal precedent and are based entirely upon our application of the law, nothing else. We are trained to be fair, impartial legal arbiters. The reason we're set up that way is to provide you and every citizen with a voice. If you have a grievance or a need to defend yourself against a grievance, you can have your day in court and get it resolved. Our court system is accessible to all. Many cases begin here in the trial courts, called the Courts of Common Pleas. I'm Judge Dwayne D. Woodruff of the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Every one of Pennsylvania's 67 counties is served by one or more trial judges, like me. Trial courts have general jurisdiction, meaning they handle all types of cases, including criminal cases ranging from nonviolent crimes like theft to the most serious offenses such as murder, and civil cases such as contract disputes and lawsuits involving businesses, personal injury, or settlement of estates. Sometimes these cases are heard by citizens sitting as a jury, and sometimes before the judge alone. Trial courts also handle family cases in which judges must address very personal issues like child custody and support, adoption, divorce, and the distribution of assets between spouses. Judges in trial courts also hear abuse cases and issue protection from abuse orders. Any person who loses a case in a trial court has the right of appeal to one of Pennsylvania's two intermediate appellate courts. Here to tell you about the appellate process are the president judges of the Superior and Commonwealth Courts.
I'm Coriel Stevens, President Judge of Pennsylvania's Superior Court. Most of us are somewhat familiar with the way trial courts work. We see it in courtroom dramas all the time. Not that everything you see is real, of course, but you know the main players. There's a judge, a jury, a prosecutor, and a defense attorney, along with the court staff in the gallery. But not much is known about the appellate courts. Appellate means appeal in Latin. People who lose a case at the trial level can appeal a judge's decision to an appellate court. The first level of appeal is taken to one of Pennsylvania's two intermediate appellate courts, either the Superior Court or the Commonwealth Court. These courts determine if mistakes were made at the trial court level. They have statewide jurisdiction, meaning that the judges of these courts have the authority to hear cases from all over the state. Let's take a closer look at each of these courts. The Superior Court of Pennsylvania was originally established in 1895. There are 15 judges on the bench whose job it is to hear most of the appeals from the trial courts across the state. The Superior Court handles upwards of 8,000 cases each year, and it is typically among the busiest appellate courts in the nation. Efficient, too. The National Center for State Courts has recognized it as one of America's most productive appellate courts. Unlike the courts of common pleas that are located throughout the state, Superior Court judges typically travel to 3 locations to hear cases: Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, and Philadelphia. So if you have a case on appeal, it will be heard fairly close to where you live. And now, let's hear about Pennsylvania's other appellate court, the Commonwealth Court.
I'm Dan Pellegrini, President Judge of the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania. The Commonwealth Court has 9 judges and was created by the Constitutional Convention of 1968. We hear appeals in sometimes original cases in which the state or local government is involved. Our cases cover a wide range of subject matter, including banking, insurance, utility, and environmental regulation, as well as taxation, land use, labor law, and election law. A person fighting a workers' compensation ruling or a zoning decision that affects a neighborhood would bring an appeal to our court. With our special focus on government cases, the Commonwealth Court is truly unique. There's no other court like it in the country. Like the Superior Court, we travel to Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia to hear appeals. Any party who is not satisfied with the results of an appeal in either the Superior Court or the Commonwealth Court may take further appeal to the highest court in the state, the Supreme Court. And now, here is the Chief Justice of Pennsylvania to tell you about that court.
I'm Ron Castile, Chief Justice of Pennsylvania. Our judicial system has a long history in Pennsylvania. Our Supreme Court was created by Pennsylvania's Constitution of 1722, so the court was serving the cause of justice well before the United States Supreme Court and even before the establishment of our nation in 1776. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court is at the top of the judicial pyramid. 7 justices serve on the court, and their constitutional duty is to make the final judgment in interpreting Pennsylvania's law and the Pennsylvania Constitution. The Supreme Court receives more than 3,000 petitions for appeal each year from both civil and criminal cases. We review each petition. When we decline a petition, the ruling of the lower court stands. When the Supreme Court accepts an appeal, we most often seek to clarify a point of law that has statewide implications and importance. The Supreme Court has broad jurisdiction over all types of cases. Under our Constitution, the court can assume full jurisdiction over any issue of immediate public importance pending before any court in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As with the judges on the Pennsylvania's other courts, my colleagues and I decide cases based on 3 primary factors: our understanding of the Constitution, our reading of the law, and review of precedent from prior court decisions that helps us maintain consistency in the application of legal principles over time. Now let's look back down to the base of the pyramid, to the busiest level of our unified judicial system, what some people call the People's Court, the magisterial district courts of Pennsylvania.
I am Kathy Hummel-Fried, a magisterial district judge in Montgomery County. If a citizen should have any reason to come before a judge, typically it would be in a magisterial district court like mine, or the municipal courts of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, or perhaps Philadelphia Traffic Court. Together, these courts handle a huge number of cases, more than 2 million a year. These cases involve civil disputes in which the amount in controversy does not usually exceed $12,000, landlord-tenant disputes, and lower graded crimes, which are usually called summary offenses and include traffic violations. In addition to hearing cases, judges of these courts have other duties. They hold preliminary hearings in misdemeanor and felony cases. They regularly issue arrest warrants and search warrants, conduct preliminary arraignments, and set and accept bail. They may also grant emergency relief in cases involving our most vulnerable citizens under both the Protection from Abuse Act and the Older Adults Protective Services Act. As you can see, these courts are busy places, but if you want your voice heard, we will hear you.
The Pennsylvania Constitution made it possible for anyone, anywhere in the state to seek justice in a court of law. That's our right, yours and mine. And the Constitution set up the system in such a way that you don't have to travel far to begin the process. Magisterial district courts are located throughout the state. Trial courts are also easily accessible. They are located in every county courthouse. All 3 appellate courts travel throughout the year to your region of the state, either here in the Capitol building in Harrisburg or in courtrooms in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Modern times and technology have expanded that geographical accessibility in many ways. If you need a translator, one will be available. If you have a disability, it will be accommodated. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you in criminal cases, or needed assistance can be provided in civil matters. And anyone can get information anytime about cases, decisions, court location, and the processes through Pennsylvania's court website. As one of the 3 co-equal branches of state government, the role of Pennsylvania's court system is to preserve the rule of law and guarantee the rights and liberties of our citizens. In our legal system, unlike in many parts of the world, you have a voice. It's the American way, and it began here in Pennsylvania.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. As I said, I can tell you that the history lesson learned with regard to the courts I thought was very compelling. Going back all the way to the Declaration of Independence, our court systems, the fact that the Supreme Court was one of the first court in the United States. How many numbers of Supreme Court justices there are, all the different levels of the courts. I hope you found it really interesting and compelling, and you learned a lot, not only about our history, but about what each level of the court does in each district, in each region of our great Commonwealth, and at every level of the court system. You learned about how each branch of the courts operate and how you can file appeals at different levels, from district court to the Court of Common Pleas, and interestingly enough, how the Superior and Commonwealth Court operate, learning that the Commonwealth Court handles mostly governmental issues that face cities, counties, and municipalities. Also, our Supreme Court and how they really are able to effectuate great change as it relates to so many different issues across all barriers of our daily lives. A little bit more about the job that I do as a magisterial district judge, and this particular court, your court, which encompasses Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair. I see some 4,500 cases, and that number continues to rise. The criminal cases have gone up quite a bit. We're up really over 8 or 10% over last year in our criminal cases. In the district here in Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair, as a magisterial district judge, as you heard my colleague from the other side of the state talk about our responsibilities, they are many. They also really encompass all aspects of life, including summary violations such as disorderly conduct or underage drinking, issues related to traffic. Distracted driving has been such a problem, and their accidents are on the rise. Traffic is a very serious issue, one that we have to take very seriously. That's another issue that we deal with here at the magisterial district level. Additionally, we hear civil cases, landlord-tenant, cases that relate to business against business or consumer against business or neighbor against neighbor. These can be difficult cases, but ones that I like to try to resolve not only in a mediation level, but as it relates to the law. I will tell you also that as a magisterial district judge, not only do I hear cases here in Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair, but I also sit downtown at the arraignment court, which encompasses all of Allegheny County and the city of Pittsburgh, and hear cases down there involving all different sorts of issues, including primarily criminal issues. Additionally, all of the 46 judges in Allegheny County that sit on the district courts are on call for homicides, for preliminary arraignments in matters involving homicides. We also, in arraignment court, are usually on a rotation about somewhere around 2 times a month. I hope you did enjoy the video. I hope you learned some things about all the courts and all the levels of the courts, and that this was, in fact, enlightening for the viewers. Let me know how you felt about it when you see me out at different events or you come into the courts. I'm interested if this is something you'd like to see more of. And I can tell you this, once I obtain a new video, something that's more updated, which I think will be forthcoming, I will certainly share that with you. I enjoy not only my opportunity to serve you, the people of Allegheny County, particularly Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair, but I take this job very seriously. I care about my my fellow citizens, and in fact, I will tell you that I also sit on the Allegheny County Association of Judges, and I was just elected by my peers as the vice president, and also the statewide committee on the Legislative Affairs and Vehicle Code. And I work hard at making sure that I keep up on all the new laws as it relates to our Commonwealth, and let our voice be heard as it relates to the laws that protect us. Again, I am Judge Ron Arnone, and I want to thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I look forward to bringing another show back to you very soon regarding issues that affect us in our lives as citizens of this great Commonwealth and Allegheny County and this district. We'll see you again soon. God bless, and remember, be a leader, not a follower.